So it's going to be messy. You're not going to have it all figured out. Plans will fall apart. There's going to be times when you feel way less than ready and you're going to need to act anyway. And you know what? It's going to be okay. Hi, my name's June Morrow, and I help new coaches, facilitators, and other service-based entrepreneurs with the confidence, communications, and clarity that they need to attract more money. Now, over the past 2 months, I've been sharing the 10 commandments for new service-based entrepreneurs, lessons that I wish somebody had told me or shared with me before I started out on my own. And today we're on the 9th commandment, which is to get comfortable with discomfort. Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to be spending some time there. Now, if you are somebody who naturally loves living on the edge, right? You know, if you're like, the unknown is my friend and big risk gives me a hard on, you can stop watching right now because this video is not for you. But if you're someone who likes to know where you're going and you like to have a sense of control over things and you feel more comfortable with small calculated risks, well, keep watching because you don't need to be Indiana Jones to be a successful entrepreneur. But you do have to slay a few monsters. And the majority of those monsters, my friend, are going to come from within. So in this video, you'll learn about the most common fears that keep us from moving forward in our businesses. The 3 deadly P's that those fears manifest into, and I'm talking about perfectionism, procrastination, and people pleasing, and how to move through them so that you can make the impact that you want your business to make. Because here's what I believe, and this is going to sound a little woo. I believe that your soul chose this route of entrepreneurship for you in this lifetime so that you could let go of some of the baggage, see through the illusion of fear, raise your energetic vibration, and inspire others. Yes, I believe entrepreneurship can be a path to spiritual evolution because in doing so, we help others raise up their lives as well. Now, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Starting a business is one of the fastest routes out there to personal growth because the treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear. Clients, money, impact, freedom, difference making. All those are going to require you to slay some dragons. And as I said before, those dragons, most of them are within. They're primordial and they're ancient. And they were put there when you were very young as a way to ensure your survival. And throughout our lives, they stay with us, right? They lay dormant until someone pokes at them with a stick by trying to do something that doesn't feel safe. And when that happens, those dragons freak out. They push back and you feel stuck. You feel like you can't move forward. You feel terrified. You're like, I can't do that. Now, these dragons are our fears. Namely, they're the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, which are all really, 3 heads of one big fear, which is the fear of abandonment, which would ultimately, as children, lead to death. So if you're feeling those fears, fear of rejection, failure, not being good enough, congratulations, you, my friend, are human. Because you see, as humans, we are pack animals. As children and infants, we required other people for our survival, right? Our parents and our caregivers. And so rejection by the pack would have been a serious, deadly thing. And that's why it often triggers our fight, flight, or freeze response in our brains. It's hardwired into us. And if you're taught that you have to be a certain way or achieve a certain thing to belong to the pack, which is what we all learn at a very young age, those fears of failing, of not being good enough, of not being accepted into the group are also going to be hardwired into your brain. And this is why it's so difficult for new entrepreneurs. Because every time you get on a sales call or you reach out to someone you don't know, or you put yourself out there as the face of your business, you risk rejection. And every time you try a new marketing tactic or launch a program or decide to do something you've never done before, you risk failure and you risk not getting it right and you risk feeling like you're not good enough. And unlike in a corporate job, there's no guaranteed paycheck. So you're not only risking these things, you're risking security as well. And until you get accustomed to these things and rewire your brain and learn to trust, these things are not easy. So you initially have to push through those fears, and especially the ones that are going to be the strongest for you. Because as I said before, the treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear to enter. Now, as a child, we don't have the capacity to look at our fears rationally. And unless we have a really loving parent or another caregiver or somebody who can take us aside and let us know that things are going to be okay, we're going to develop strategies to reduce the risk of those fears coming to pass. And this is when we learn things like, if I'm always good, I won't get yelled at by my older brother. Or if I help mommy in the kitchen, I get attention. Or I should avoid daddy because sometimes he gets mad and sometimes he doesn't, and I don't know why. And over time, these strategies become subconscious scripts, and they tell us how to behave, right? And this is why we become people pleasers, why we become perfectionists, why we become procrastinators, because these strategies work. Until one day you decide to start a business, and then 6 months down the line you have to do something to grow that business or move forward, and all of a sudden you're facing burnout, or you're kicking yourself for not doing the things that you know would make the biggest difference, or you're just running around in circles and you can't quite get it. And this is when your default, whether it's perfectionism or procrastination or people pleasing, can actually block you in your business and prevent you from moving forward and making the impact that you long to make, to really touch those lives and help them transform. So what does this look like, and what can you do about it? Well, let's look at each of these one by one. And as I describe each, I want you to ask yourself, does that sound like me? Because we're all a little bit of all of this. So perfectionism can show up sometimes in the need to have all of your ducks in a row before you can act. So for example, you might think, I need to have my website perfect before I can go out and find clients. But before I can do my website, I need to have my logo perfect. And before I do that, I need to have my branding and everything, right? Or it might show up in, I'm not 100% sure who my ideal client is, so I'm just not going to reach out to anyone. Or it might be like, I have to do everything myself because I know others will never do as good a job as me. And as a result of this, you find yourself either stuck or completely overwhelmed or beating yourself up, right? And if this is you, and this is me, has been me, this is what you need to do. Give yourself permission to take imperfect action, and give others the same permission, right? Done is better than perfect. And learning how to delegate is an important skill. It's something that you're going to have to use and learn how to do as you scale your business. And so what you need to do is you need to give yourself time and space to play in the unknown. The more you allow yourself to become loose and to just kind of not take it all so seriously. Think of yourself as a student. You're always learning. The friendlier the unknown will become to you. So you have to take those little calculated risks, right? So as a recovering perfectionist, a mantra that's really helped me, and this comes from Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way, is it's my job to do the work, not to judge the work. Now, if you really want to make progress, here's an advanced level challenge for you recovering perfectionists or you perfectionists out there. Do something that you think is bad and put it out there anyway. Now, even if you're a true perfectionist, you do this, you might find that your worst is a lot better than other people's bests, right? Because perfectionists tend to do more than is required. However, procrastinators tend to do less than was required, right? But here's what's interesting. Procrastination and perfectionism are both fueled by the same fear. And it's a fear of being judged as not good enough. In fact, procrastination is often a way of avoiding things we perceive as just too difficult or too big or painful to do. And it shows up when we do things like we know we should hire someone, but we put it off because we think it's going to be a pain in the butt to actually find someone decent, or we think it's going to take too long. Or it shows up when we avoid calling a potential client because we're afraid of trying a new sales pitch and sounding awkward. And very commonly for a lot of us, procrastination shows up when we avoid looking at our finances because we secretly fear they're not going to tell a good story, and that's going to be painful. So if you're a procrastinator, here are 3 things that will help. 1, break big items down into smaller chunks. So for example, say you're doing a speech. What you want to do, instead of trying to do the whole speech in one go, set aside time, different sections of time, like one section to brainstorm your ideas, another section to outline, put those in kind of like a structure, and then another section to put those structures, outlines into sentences, right? And when you do this, break things down into short intervals. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Say to yourself, I only have to work on this right now for 30 minutes, and then do it. Because what you'll find, 1, it makes it seem more like the task will be easier if you only have to do it for 30 minutes. And then the second thing is, once you get into doing something, your mind will probably want to keep on it, but it's just getting that start, right? And that's what procrastinators have a hard time with. So set a time for just like a minimal interval of work. Break your work into chunks. Make it really easy for you to have successes. Take everything down to the smallest step possible and say, I'm just going to do this small step, and then do the next small step. And then finally, get rid of distractions, right? Keep your phone in a separate area from where you work. Get a social media blocker if that's a problem for you. You can get these apps that'll block social media sites or Netflix, so you don't go into kind of like a spiral during working hours. Another technique that I found really makes doing dull tasks fun is either playing music or gamifying them in some way by turning them into a timed challenge. So a powerful mantra for procrastinators is I take small steps in the direction of my dreams every day, and those small steps add up over time. As I said, you only have to take a step. Now, the third way our fear of rejection manifests itself is in people pleasing. Now, people pleasers tend to have a hard time setting boundaries. They have a hard time saying no. They want everyone to be happy. And unfortunately, this comes at the expense of the people pleaser, and it ultimately will come at the expense of the business. Now, people pleasing shows up in 3 ways. Or in these ways, many ways, but these are 3. 1 is not charging your worth because you want everyone to be able to access your business. It might also show up when you refuse to charge clients who don't show up or cancel at the last minute or are continually late. It shows up when you refuse to niche on something or make a stand that would help you stand out. And people pleasing also shows up when you don't get into an area that you actually want to get into because, you've got a friend in that area and you don't want to compete. So it can also show up as, if you get a service and the service provider doesn't do a good job, you don't ask for a refund. Now, if this is you, and I've been there as well, you need to set some boundaries and stick with them. Make a list of areas where you secretly resent the way people are treating you. What's upsetting you right now? And then make a decision to be treated with respect, to be assertive in that place, to set your foot down and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go for this or tolerate this. If it's somebody who doesn't show up for sessions, let them know that the next time they do that, they're going to be charged and penalized. Or better yet, put this in your client agreement. Always put this in your client agreement before you start working with clients, right? And then enforce it. If someone's giving you shoddy service, tell them that you're unhappy with it and ask for a discount or demand that they fix things. Be clear, be firm, and even though your heart is racing when you do these things, stand by your request. Because remember, this isn't about you, it's not about them, this is about business. And that's not you, that's something outside of you. Second, if you're not sure if you want to do something or not, if you're someone who's always like saying yes to things and that's kind of overwhelming you, here's something I want you to memorize. Whenever anybody asks you, should I do this? Or whenever anybody asks you to do something, this is what you want to say. You want to say, can I get back to you on that? And then I want you to step away from the situation for 24 hours or more before saying yes or no. And then, and then when you do, if you do have to say no, don't say I can't. Say I don't think I want to, or I don't think this is in my best interest, or I don't want to. That's a really powerful and very difficult phrase for people pleasers. Third, be really clear on your goals. What is it that you want to achieve for yourself and for your clients and for the world versus what you think other people want you to achieve or would expect you to achieve? If you're around super high achievers all the time, and when you look at it, really what you want to do is you just want to have an easy life where you hang out with your friends, and you don't really want to make $1 million, that's okay. And if you're around, if you want to do like really super big impact stuff and you're around mediocre achievers, it's okay to be that as well. So figure out what you want for your life. What sort of business do you want in your life? What's gonna make you happy, right? And then make a decision based on that. When anybody asks you to do something or an opportunity comes up to do something, ask yourself, does this align with the type of life and business that I want? And if not, it's a no. And you don't even have to, when you say no, you don't have to explain yourself. You can just say no is a complete explanation itself. It's like, no, thank you. Thank you for asking. Not interested, right? Not easy to do as a people pleaser. So if you're a people pleaser, a mantra that you can use is it's safe to say no. It's safe to say no. Now, if you're a people pleaser in when it comes to charging people, or if you're undercharging people, make this your mantra. I provide quality services that people value. I provide quality services that people value. Now, regardless of which P you fall into, none of these tactics are going to be easy, right? Because remember, the 9th commandment for new service-based entrepreneurs is to get comfortable with discomfort. And ultimately, this is about trust. It's about learning through trial and error by doing that you no longer need those strategies that kept you safe as a child, and that it's okay to step out of them and step into your greatness, whatever greatness means to you. So which of these do you need to do? Or maybe it's something else. Put it in the comments if you feel comfortable doing that. And if you want to start pushing through some of your blocks, you can download my free masterclass on how to find clients despite a tiny mailing list. The link is below, and start implementing some of the suggestions there, because they're going to put you out of your comfort zone if you haven't been doing them. Remember, anything you haven't done is going to seem challenging, and this is normal, and it's part of the journey. So if you found this valuable, don't forget to hit subscribe to get more videos to help you with the confidence, clarity, and communication that you need as a new coach or other service-based entrepreneur to start getting clients and make the impact you dream of. You got this.